guys, welcome back to my channel. This was not what I was planning on creating today. As you can probably hear, my voice is still not completely back. I'm sorry I've been absent the last week. I was getting over the worst illness that I've had in a really long time, but I'm back now with this look for you. This is something that is, these kind of colours are put together quite a lot, and I've seen a few people create something similar to this. I can't say there was an exact image that I used to create this. I knew the colours would work well together, and I'm pretty sure it's probably been done by somebody before, but the main kind of inspiration for something like this would have been P. Louise as well as Kaylee MUA. I will link both of them down in the description so you guys can check them out. So if you guys like what you see and you want to know how I created this look, then just keep watching.
So I'm starting off with Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is Orange Soda, just as my transition shade. I'm just building that up through the crease just to give everything something to blend into. I like to go in about 2 or 3 times with that. And now I'm using Melchior Professional Autumn Sunset. I wanted to include this step just because I feel like building a little bit of warmth through the crease is important, just to make sure all the colours lay properly, for me anyway. I'm just going in with a clean brush now. Going in with Melchior Professional, this is the shade Lilith, and I'm just building this up through that deep crease, almost over that autumn sunset, and I find that putting it straight over gives it a little bit of depth. It makes it a little bit darker rather than being bright and pink. I'm just cleaning that up with the same brush that I used to apply autumn sunset, just so those colours really blend seamlessly. Now I'm going in with a little bit more of Lilith shade. This is just because we lost a little bit of that depth, and I just want to bring it back while the blend is fresh, if that makes any sense. So you can see the colour really deepening up now. Same again on the other eye. And then going in with a clean brush again, just to buff away any of those harsh edges and just make sure everything's really blended seamlessly together. I'm also really sorry that my voice is really croaky. I'm still not over this cold as of yet. Going in with, this is Sugar Pill 2am, that purple shade, with a little bit of Lilith, and I'm just deepening up round the spotlight of where the eye is going to be. This didn't record, which I was kind of annoyed about, but now all I'm doing is just going in with a clean brush again, and this is just to blend away any of those harsh edges. I cannot, again, I always say this in every tutorial, but clean brushes are your best friend. Now I'm going in with a little bit of just that 2am shade right into the inner corners, just where that fluffy brush can't reach, and just patting that colour in to really deepen it up and show that purple off. And then a clean brush once again, just going right around those edges. So now I'm going in with the Makeup Revolution Concealer in C5. This is absolutely perfect for something like this. And I'm just about to cut the spotlight out. Put a little bit too much on there. So I'm just taking a little fluffy brush, and I'm just really patting that colour all the way over in that spotlight area that I want to cut out basically. I just cleaned off my brush there because I had put a little bit too much on. But I just wanted to show you this step in a little bit more depth because I think it's quite important for the tutorial. I would always use a fluffy brush with something like this. If you use a flat brush, it's going to be too harsh, but this will really help to blend out the edges later on as well. This is Sugar Pill 2am, and I'm just popping that right over those edges, and then I'm going to go back in with that brush and just buff that away again. So that was the same brush I used for the concealer. This process takes a little bit of time. It's more about the kind of blending the edges together, so I've kind of slowed the video down a little bit so you guys can see in a bit more depth what I'm doing. I'm just going in with that concealer brush again, just making sure that those edges are really buffed out and blurred seamlessly so we get a really nice fade. The Certified Tropical Wonders palette, I'm using the orange and the yellow to create that spotlight. In a minute I do decide to go in with that Lilith shade and make it a little bit more reddy tone because I just felt the orange was too stark a contrast. Putting that yellow shade right in the centre, and because we've not set that, it's really sticky, so it's going to stay on. This is a little bit of the Lilith shade now. I'm just going back over with that, and you can see it turns into orange, which was the kind of colour that I wanted to start with originally. But this is a way of really kind of correcting it if you get to that point. And then going back in with that yellow shade from the Certified Tropical Wonders palette. That's called Sunray, that shade. Next, Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer, just buffing that in all over my face. I sped it up because you don't need to see it. It's kind of boring really. I think everyone knows how to do this already. I didn't actually end up using that pink shade. If I did, it was a very, very tiny amount. It was mostly the orangey yellow shade that I used as a transition just underneath the eye to add a little bit of warmth. And then going in with the Lilith shade, this is on a 221 brush from MAC, which I think has been discontinued, but it's one of my favourite brushes of all time for going under the eye. It's soft enough to blend, but it's firm enough that it will get right under and hug the underneath of the eye. I'm now just going in with a little bit of that Sugar Pill 2 AM shade, and then a clean fluffy brush just to buff everything out. Now I'm going in with a little bit of NYX Jumbo Pencil. This is in Black Bean. I wanted to use black over brown. I just felt like brown wouldn't do this look justice. So black it is. I'm just going in the waterline and a little bit on top as well, just to hide any skin coloured flesh. And then buffing out with that same brush that I used to apply the shade Lilith. It's perfect for something like this. And then finally that orange, just to top it all off. Little bit of mascara. This is just MAC Extended Play. It was the closest one I had to me. And I'm putting a little bit of the matte white from the Certified Tropical Wonders palette on the inner corner before I put the glitter on. These are just Meldora H167s. These go absolutely perfectly with this look. They just look amazing. NYX Glitter Primer and Peaches Makeup Pigment in Fantasy. This is like an iridescent purple shade. And I just feel like it was made brighter by that matte white underneath. It really makes it pop. Just doing my bronzer. This is MAC Dark Tan. And it's a Morphe brush. It's one of my favourite Morphe brushes for bronzer. I used to have such a struggle trying to find a bronzer brush, but this is amazing. And I thought I would include this as well. I don't normally show this on camera, but I just take a little bit of that bronzer and run it down my nose. I just find that it stops the nose looking really flat. The Topshop Illuminator drops in the shade Phoenix, just to give my face a little bit of a glow. And then just going over with that bronzer brush just to blend all of that together. Just doing my freckles now. I did speed this up, but I do have a video on this if you're new here and you don't know how I do them, then I will link it in the cards for you.
So this is the finished look. Thank you guys so much for sticking around, watching what I've created. See you in the next tutorial.